That night, I thought I was safe beneath my blanket. But when the lights went out, something warm pressed close, too close. I couldn't see it, but I could feel its breath, hear it whisper, and the last word it said still echoes in my mind. Still. The rain had stopped hours ago, but the sound of it still lived in my head, a rhythm my body had learned to miss. My apartment was silent now, too silent, the kind of quiet that feels like it's listening back. The streetlight outside pulsed faintly through the blinds, slicing the room into strips of gold and shadow. I lay on my side, staring at the dim glow of the clock. 2:47 a.m. Sleep refused to come. It never did when the air felt this heavy, when every breath seemed to echo in someone else's rhythm. My fingers traced the edge of the blanket, the cotton cool under my touch. It should have felt safe. It didn't. Then came the shift, that almost unnoticeable moment when a room stops belonging to you. The temperature dropped, not cold, just different. Still, my pulse stumbled. I told myself to move, to sit up, to do anything. But a strange stillness held me there, as if the air itself was waiting for something. The scent returned before the sound did. That same faint sweetness, earth and rain and something human but wrong. I clenched my jaw. I'd smelled it once before, in a night I swore I'd buried. My chest tightened. My mind whispered it's not real, but my body whispered it remembers. Somewhere in the quiet, the bed springs sighed. Not from me, not this time. The blanket near my feet shifted just slightly, the way fabric does when a hand brushes across it. I froze, my breath hitched. Then slowly, the pressure moved upward, along the side of my leg, through the fabric, too slow to be chance. I squeezed my eyes shut. My heart pounded against my ribs so hard I thought it might wake the whole building. Still, I couldn't move. The air pressed closer, thicker, like it was learning how I breathed. Then a sound, soft, deliberate, exhaled against my ear. The whisper wasn't words, not yet, just a sound made of breath and patience. I swallowed hard, my throat burning. The air trembled, and then beneath the hum of silence, I heard it, 3 soft taps against the wooden frame of my bed. Rhythmic, intentional, waiting. I wanted to tell myself it was nothing, but when the 3rd tap came, something brushed my hair, light as dust, careful as fingers. My breath faltered, my lips parted. I whispered into the darkness, "Who's there?" The answer was another exhale, closer now, warm enough to stir the fine strands of my hair. The scent was stronger, earthy, faintly sweet, and impossibly close. Still, the voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be, because I knew what it meant. The last time it said that word. I didn't sleep for weeks, and this time it had found me again. But the strange thing was, it didn't feel angry. It felt patient, like it had been waiting for me to remember what came next. The whisper still hung in the air, low and steady, like it had never left. I didn't dare move. Every sound in the room had vanished except for my heartbeat. Then slowly the mattress dipped again. A second weight, a presence, breathing close enough for me to feel the heat roll across my skin. I told myself not to look, not to give it shape, but the darkness pulsed, alive, watching. My throat went dry as the blanket shifted near my waist. It moved as though fingers traced its edge, testing, learning, waiting. A warm exhale brushed the back of my neck. My breath caught halfway. The air felt charged, like the moment before lightning strikes. The scent deepened. Earth, rain, something faintly sweet that made my pulse race. The touch came next, not harsh, not fast. A slow glide along my arm, so soft it almost felt imagined. My body tensed, but I didn't pull away. The warmth lingered, tracing my skin in deliberate circles, as though it wanted to remind me how easily I could be undone. I whispered, "Stop." The word barely left my lips. The answer was another breath, closer now, warm and deliberate. It filled the silence like a heartbeat that wasn't mine. The air thickened. The room felt smaller. I could feel the weight beside me shifting, inch by inch, until the sound of movement filled the space between breaths. The scent wrapped around me, drowning every other thought. Something grazed my shoulder. The pressure was real. I could feel the heat, the rhythm, the intent behind every motion. My heart pounded, but fear wasn't the only thing rising in me anymore. It was something else, something darker, something I couldn't name without shame. I turned my face slightly, searching for air, but what I found was breath, not mine. It whispered across my cheek, soft as a secret, then stopped, waiting. The silence broke with 3 words that didn't sound spoken at all. They slid through me like a command carved into the dark. "Don't move." My pulse faltered. I tried to breathe, but the warmth stayed against my skin, too close, too knowing. I felt it lean in, invisible but undeniable, until even the air felt like it belonged to it. Then the whisper came again, gentle, cruel, possessive. "You remember me." The words weren't a question. They were truth. And when the bed shifted closer, when the air itself seemed to hold me still, I realized the worst part of all. I did. The air didn't move. It held its breath with me. I could feel the weight now, pressing into the mattress beside my hip, slow, careful, claiming the space like it had always belonged there. My pulse thudded against my throat. Every sound in the room was gone, except for the soft rasp of its breathing. The blanket began to slide, inch by inch, a ghostly movement that sent a chill racing up my spine. I gripped the sheet, but it didn't matter. The air itself was stronger. A warmth spread across my side, hovering just above the fabric, never quite touching, like it wanted me to ask for it. I whispered, "Please," though I didn't know if I meant for it to stop or to stay. The presence leaned closer. The air thickened until I could taste it. Earth, smoke, something sweet that made my head swim. My body trembled as breath brushed my ear again, steady and deliberate. "You never closed your eyes," it whispered. My heart stuttered. I hadn't realized until that moment that they were still open, staring into the dark. The words slid over my skin like a touch, soft but cutting, then silence, deep, endless, the kind that waits before it breaks. The bed shifted once more, closer. Something unseen hovered just above my chest. I could feel the heat of it, the pulse of something that wasn't mine. I wanted to scream, but the sound never came. Then the whisper returned, lower this time, almost inside my head. "You invited me back." My breath caught. I tried to speak, to deny it, but all that came out was air. The warmth pressed closer, so close I could feel the faint tremor of something that felt alive, breathing, waiting, wanting. The scent filled every breath I took until I could barely think at all. Then, as quickly as it came, the weight lifted. The air shifted. The room was still again, empty. I thought it was over. I told myself I was alone, until I looked down. At the end of the bed, the blanket was pressed flat. 2 perfect impressions in the fabric, knees, facing me. They didn't fade this time. They deepened, sinking lower, closer, as though something was crawling toward me. The whisper came one last time, so close I felt it against my lips. Stay. The marks vanished. The air went cold, and I lay there, frozen, staring at the darkness that had already learned my name. If you've ever felt breath that wasn't yours, if you've ever sensed something waiting in the dark, you already know. You're not sleeping alone. Share your story in the comments and subscribe to Paranormal Sleep, because the next whisper might be yours.